So here is the story of Focus on AIDS. I had a gallery in Santa Monica, Robert Berman Gallery, and on Marine Street, one of many. And Susan Barris and Hossein Farmani, two people I didn't know at all, came to my gallery. This was after I had showed Keith Haring, and I was a big shot for a minute. And they said, "We have a great show for you." And I said, well, what is it? And they said, Antonio Lopez, and I had never heard of him. But I said, okay, let's take a look. And then they told me he was an illustrator. And I said, well, I really don't show illustrations, but I did tell my girlfriend at the time that, and she was at FIT, that I was offered the show by an illustrator, had she ever heard of him. And she said, Antonio, if you don't show him, I will never touch you again. So that's the story. And I went, okay. And then I did the show, and it turned out to be this amazing show. And everybody came from all over the world, all the intelligentsia, and everybody was there. And Tina Chow and the whole group of the New York art scene. And Susan and Hossein were correct, and it was phenomenal. But the sad news was during the show, the artist Antonio, who had AIDS, died, and it was tragic. But at that time, Susan and Hossein said, we have to do something for this horrible disease. And we met, and I came up with the name Focus on AIDS. And then Susan and Hossein really jumped on it. And I want to introduce you to Susan Barris, who came to me back in the day.
So something that started bad, because Antonio was my best friend at the time, resulted in something really, really good, because nobody was doing anything about AIDS. And in 1987, we all decided to do an auction benefit for AIDS. And it was the very first of its kind to have a benefit for AIDS. And in fact, there wasn't even any organization that was doing anything except AIDS Project Los Angeles was the first. And so without knowing very much, Robert, Hossein Farmani, myself, and a lot of wonderful volunteer friends started something that we didn't even know what we were doing. The very first auction had Wolfgang Puck making pizzas. That's how long ago it was, and it was a fabulous first event that we were clueless about running, and we managed to raise something like $100,000 the very first time we ever did this. And soon Focus on AIDS became the biggest auction benefit of photography in the United States. Thank you, Robert. We have had a number of auction benefits after that. We built a children's AIDS hospital in India. It's the only standalone AIDS hospital in the world. We helped orphanages in Cambodia, Safe House for AIDS street orphans in Tanzania. A lot of wonderful things came from this wonderful event. And fast forward, these are the final images that we've had in storage, and Robert was kind enough to put it in for a last hurrah auction for Focus on AIDS. And if you come to the gallery, you will see it, and other wonderful things coming on as well to be auctioned off. But this all goes to Focus on AIDS. It's a donation to it, and so there's a write-off, and you're going to be able to get some amazing pieces. So it's going to be May 6th.
May 6th, right here, starting at 1 o'clock. We have our other photographs that were curated here by Douglas Marshall at Bergamot, and then immediately after our regular photo auction, we will do all of these. There's 28 lots and some really great surprises in here, and they're being sold with no reserve, and 100% of the hammer goes to the foundation. So I'm just really proud and happy to be part of that. So come.
So are we. So come.
Thank you. Thank you. And then I'm going to sell them individually. So that'll be good.
By the way, I didn't even know Hossein when I came.
Really?
I never met him.
But you knew the magazine.
I knew the magazine, but I never met him.
Wasn't that funny?
Yeah, you keep thinking that
I
I'm blocked
think-
when you're
I
saying,
think-
no, I came by myself.
Oh, you came by yourself?
Yes.
No, but I remember him being with you, but I guess it was second time. But
No.
I remember him coming.
I don't know
But
whether
he
he even
came
came
about
to
the
the
Antonio
show.
Hunt, because you remember the magazine was all about Antonio.
His last interview, but you know who interviewed him?
Who?
And it wasn't in person. That's why I never met him. He was only